Hello there, Superboy the Legacy fans. This is your Superboy fact checker, Chris Jacobsen. With me, as always, is from across the pond, the great Tom Gallagher.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Tom. And we're finally back after a couple of week hiatus. Both of us had conventions to go to, and plus it was the 4th of July weekend this past weekend, so I wasn't available. So we're finally back to do our episode 4 of the reviewing the Superboy the comic book series.
We are indeed.
Yep.
Issue 4.
Before we go into the review, just want to say, Tom had a recent convention in the UK, which, as you was telling me, was not that great.
Yeah, it was tiny. It was my hometown, so it was literally a 10-minute walk from my front door, which was the best thing about it. And it was literally in a very small nightclub. So it was basically one room that wasn't particularly big. I actually filmed some video while there, so while I'm talking about it, I might as well stick that video over the top of this so people can see what I'm talking about. But there must have been 12 tables, and it was almost all just Star Wars toys, and there were no comic books to buy apart from one table Star Wars comics. Like, it wasn't really a Comic-Con, it was just
a Star Wars.
They should have called it Star Wars Con. But it was really small. There wasn't really much to do. I think I was in and out of there in an hour, and I had done everything there was to do. And, the guest list wasn't particularly great. It was, I don't want to say anything bad about the guests because obviously I'm sure they're all very nice people, and I'm glad that they had some guests. But to be honest, I'm not really interested in meeting someone that played a stormtrooper in the original Star Wars. Like, if it was the stormtrooper that bumped his head on the door, absolutely. Yeah. I would love to meet that guy because he's a meme. But, yeah, he was just one of the random stormtroopers in the movie. Like,
Yeah,
I had no real... It was... I'm glad they did a Comic-Con, and I hope they do more so they can do it bigger and better next year.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was just a bit disappointing. I was hoping to find some secondhand comic books to buy,
Yep. The convention that I just went to was Eternal Con. We do that here on Long Island every year. The first few that I went to were at the Cradle of Aviation Museum, which I'm glad that they finally got out of that because, being inside the museum was a little cramped, and they were putting things on top of the exhibits. So that
doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah, so it's better that it's out of there. The next couple of years after that, it was at the Nassau Coliseum, which they had it in the basement, and that was huge.
You were telling me about that. You said it was absolutely massive.
And then this year, and I believe last year, when they relaunched it after the year hiatus because of we don't want to talk about
for obvious reasons.
They have now had it at Hofstra University. They have it in the gymnasium. It's on 2 levels, so you got the dealer's room on the main level, which is also where the celebrities are for getting autographs, and then the upper level is the artist's alley. This year was really, really nice. We had Sam J. Jones, Flash Gordon himself. We had 2 guys from the Warriors. I'm not really a fan of the movie, so I can't really say who they were.
I don't think I've ever seen it. So,
Emily Swallow from Supernatural and The Mandalorian was there. Ross Marquand from Walking Dead was also there. And the pièce de résistance was the Bionic reunion. We had Lee Majors and Lindsay Wagner.
That's awesome.
And I got Lee Majors and I got Sam J. Jones. And
how many autographs by Sam J. Jones do you have at this point? Because you've told me some stories. Like, I know it's at least double digits. Like,
there's a bunch. To let you guys know what happened here. Some years back in 2009, Sam J. Jones had a website where he was selling, autographs and such. I ordered one item. in March. And it said on the website, take about 4 to 6 weeks to come. 4 to 6 weeks rolls by, nothing shows up. So I wrote them a letter, politely, and I said, I'm just wondering what's going on with the order. And they say, okay, we're having a little bit of a computer problem. We're gonna get the order out to you ASAP. And then I completely forgot about it until almost September. And I just emailed them again, and I said, I don't want to be a pest, but you guys did email me, back in March, and you said that it would be coming, and I still haven't received anything. And they then send me an email back saying, we had a computer meltdown. We are restoring all the orders. We have spoken to Mr. Jones, and as per him, you are getting one of everything that is available on the site, all autographed, and you still only have to pay for the one item, which was awesome. And then about a week later, I get this cardboard envelope. It must be about, I don't know, 3 feet tall. There's a replica of the movie poster. There is, every single Alex Ross print that was available on the website. There is pictures of him from Stargate SG-1 as Aris Bach, basically the SG-1 equivalent of Boba Fett.
Yeah, that's a good episode. Although his costume kind of sucks in that episode. It's a good episode. It's fun.
Yeah. There was also a picture from his short-lived TV series, The Highwaymen. And there was a picture of him and actress Nana Visitor from Star Trek Deep Space Nine when they did the TV movie of The Spirit, which was actually intended to be a pilot, which I then later got her to autograph. And when she saw it, all she could say was, "Oh, wow." The other thing...
Yeah, I bet that's something she doesn't see very often.
Yeah, everybody brings her Star Trek. Nobody brings her The Spirit.
Well, didn't you just said, like, wasn't it a failed pilot? Like, it was a TV movie, supposed to be a show.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe if the show had continued, more people would know about it. But I didn't even know that this thing existed, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. The thing is, if it had been picked up, we might not have gotten Deep Space Nine the way we have it.
Yeah.
So
I can't imagine anyone else as Major Kira doing anywhere near as good a job. She was phenomenal on that show.
Yeah, she was. There were the last two things that were in the package was a certificate enrolling me in the Sam J. Jones fan club, which has all Alex Ross artwork on it, and then the pièce de résistance to that was a handwritten letter from Mr. Jones.
That is awesome.
Okay. So I got, and to explain what happened on the website when they were selling the autographs for this convention, they were charging $60 for him. I had no problem paying it, because this was going to be my first chance to actually meet him in person. Get up to the table, and apparently they had made a boo-boo on the website. They were supposed to only be charging $40. So because I bought it, beforehand, they said, okay, so Mr. Jones has said that you can get a second autograph or a selfie. As most of my friends who watch this know, my phone is a piece of crap. It's a sliding keyboard, and I don't think we want to see me get a picture of me and Mr. Jones with that. So I went for a second autograph. So I got two more autographs for the collection. And he kind of remembered it too, which is great. He kind of remembered the whole situation, and he says, "Well, I'm glad we took care of you," which was great. I got to shake his hand.
You've got to love when people make, it wasn't his fault. Obviously, there was a computer meltdown, as you said.
Yeah,
but you got to love when they make it right. Like it shows a lot of integrity, and it's something really.
These are the kind of celebrities that you want to go and see. You want to have a great time with them. You want them to treat you like you're gold, which not to sound, egotistical here, but we are gold to them because we are the reason why they're coming.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
they want
if
to
there were
see
no
us.
fans there to meet them, I mean, there'd be no point them going at all. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Lee
apologies for the
Mate.
traffic noise, by the way, if you heard that.
Yeah, no worries, no
I've got
worries.
to keep my window open. We're in the middle of a heat wave here in the UK, so it's just unbelievably hot. I can't shut my window. Apologies to the people watching, but I'm
No
not
worries.
shutting that window. There's no way. I think I would die of heat stroke.
Lee Majors, he's 83 now, and he looks phenomenal for his age. Okay.
That's good.
I got on the line for him, and it was, I walk up as soon as the guy in front of me, walks away, and I got the biggest greeting ever. He said, "Hey, how are you?" You don't expect that kind of enthusiasm from a celebrity, and I was
No,
taken
you
aback.
don't.
I was taken aback, and I was like, uh, I'm great, Mr. Majors. It's a pleasure to meet you." And he says, "Well, thank you." I handed him my picture, which they had put the little post-it on it that I wanted it personalized to me, and I just said to him, I'm a really big fan of the show. And he says, "Well, thank you," and he shook my hand again. So I got to shake hands with the bionic hand
That is
twice,
cool.
and I said thank you, and he says, "Have a great day." Granted, it wasn't like the day I met Sarah Douglas from the Superman movies. She's a trip. Okay.
I've heard that she's a lot of fun to meet. Yeah.
Yeah. The best part was that she was doing a panel the Friday night of the convention that I went to, and my friend John is in a wheelchair. So John, if you're watching, I'm bringing up our funny story. He does watch actually. So
That's cool.
he's in a wheelchair, and it's in one of those stadium style classrooms at the campus, and we're at the top because he can't get down all the way to bottom. And she sees us all the way up there. We're the only two at the top, and she's waving us down. She says, "Gentlemen, come closer. I don't bite." So John says, I can't. I'm in a wheelchair." She's like, "Pardon?" And he says, "I can't. I'm in a wheelchair." And even all that distance away, you could see her face get white. It got Ursa white because she was so embarrassed. And then 2 years later, when she came back to the convention, John finally goes over to her table, and she says, I hate to say this, but you look very familiar. I know I do all these conventions. Have we met before?" And he says, "Yes. Do you remember 2 years ago when you did the convention here at the campus?" She says, Yes, I do." "And you remember that Friday night panel you did?" She's like, "Yes." "I'm the guy that was in the wheelchair, and you were trying to get him to come down the stairs." And he says, she got completely, "Oh my God, I am so sorry about that."
Well, she weren't to know, was she?
Yeah, but she sat there and she talked to him for a good, I'd say, 45 minutes. John can correct us on that when he watches this.
That is really nice.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
but she's a real trip. I mean, the Sunday of the first convention that we went to, she comes into the classroom, sits down with us before it even starts, and then she gets up and she turns to all of us and says, "You ought to leave. I hear she's really boring." Walks out, gone for 5 minutes, and then comes back and says, "Just kidding."
Oh, that's cool. It's funny, like at conventions, it's always nice when you meet the celebrity that makes you feel special like that. And
Yeah.
the only ones I can really say off the top of my head that people would actually know who they are, because there were a couple of them, but they're from a British sitcom. People in the US, you probably don't know who they are, but for any of the British people watching, I met Boise and Marlene from Only Fools and Horses. They were awesome. They were really nice. Had a good chat with them. But John Noble from Fringe, Lord of the Rings, he was voice of Scarecrow.
And Brainiac.
I think he's voiced Scarecrow and Brainiac. Like, I asked if I could get a selfie with him at one point after a press interview thing. I was like doing the backstage stuff at that time, and his assistant was like, "No, we've got to go. We've got to go to we've got to get back on the floor. We've got to go, trying to shoo him out the door kind of thing. And he went, no, wait. I've got time for a selfie. Came over, put his arm around my shoulder, got the photo, and he was like, yeah, thanks for watching all of that. And yeah, went off. That was really nice. And the only other ones that I think I've told you this story before, but if you watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the characters of Bulk and Skull, they were at a convention and they had been told that they weren't allowed to give interviews on the floor. And they told me this, and I was like, that's fair enough. I completely understand. It was like, hey, wait, I'm telling you this so you know that we don't care. And they did it anyway. That was really nice. I really appreciated that. Like, really nice guys. And yeah, you always love moments like that. And Michael Landis, I spoke to for about 10 minutes. Like, it's one of the reasons why he remains to this day my favorite Jimmy Olsen, because he's just a really nice guy. And he even pretended to know who Sherman Howard was when we were talking about all the best Lex Luthors, and I mentioned Sherman Howard. He's like, oh yeah. I'm guessing he didn't actually know who he was, but he was nice enough to pretend that he did. So I thought that was really nice.
Well, he might know him from having watched him in Day of the Dead. You never know.
Maybe. I mean, maybe when he was, preparing for the role of Jimmy Olsen, maybe he watched Superboy in preparation or something. I don't know. We can't really say, but it was a really nice interaction and I appreciated it.
Yep.
But there are a couple of, we might as well move on to the next thing anyway now. I think we've talked about our conventions.
Yeah. The next thing
for
is...
the past 20 minutes. We've got some thank yous to give.
Yeah, yours have to come towards the United States really quick.
Yeah, well, I've got two thank yous, really. My first is a thank you to you, Chris. As people watching this may know, I, until recently, have not had the complete Superboy comic book collection. I think I was something like 10 issues away from having the complete collection. Considering there's only 23 issues, that's almost half.
Yeah, you were 12 away from having the full series and then the special.
Yeah,
that we don't like to talk about.
And you sent me, how many did you send? I've got them on a shelf, so I don't want to pull them down and start counting.
I sent you 8 of them.
Yeah, you sent me 8. All the others, that left me, I think, with 5 that I was missing, including not including the special, but I'd ordered that before this one arrived. So they're now all ordered very, very soon. I'll have the complete collection, and it's in big thanks to you, Chris. So I just wanted to say on the show, thank you. That was really, really nice of you. I truly appreciated it.
Well, Tom, I just wanted to, I'm touched that you're very appreciative of that. I view it the way my late mother, raised me. You pay it forward. If you have something that can help somebody out, you do it. And I went into one of my local comic book shops, and he had 5 of the missing issues that you needed, at bargain bin prices.
Yeah. I think most of the issues that were remaining that I've ordered on eBay were 99p an issue.
Yep.
Not including postage, but I mean the postage was only a couple of quid anyway, so that was no big deal.
And I also found in my pile of books 3 others that you needed, because the ones I got you was 11 through 15, which that really doesn't help because 15 and 16 are a 2-parter.
Yeah,
I found a loose copy of number 16 that I don't know how I got an extra copy of it, and then there were 2 other issues that I was going to have autographed. One of them was issue number 20, which was co-written by the late Gilbert Gottfried. Unfortunately, he passed. So I figure, what, make certain that this goes into a home that's going to appreciate it. And that's you.
It's just. Let me just see if I can pull a load of them off. Like, it's.
And then the other one was a copy of number 18.
Yep, there it is. There's the Gilbert Gottfried one.
Yep. 18 was written by one of my favorite Superboy authors, Paul Kupperberg. He unfortunately only does conventions in Connecticut, and I'm not traveling across the Long Island Sound to get an autograph, even if it is at a convention. So I figured, you know what? Give it to Tom. Tom will appreciate it.
Oh, I really do. Like,
And you might want to tell everybody how I packed it.
yeah, you sent me a message saying you might need like a degree in archaeology to unpack this thing.
Yep.
It was literally, yeah, all of them individually bagged and boarded, which I appreciate because I can't tell you how many times I've ordered comics on eBay and they've arrived without a bag or board. It's just in a cardboard,
Yeah.
envelope, and it's just like, what if that got wet? Like, it would have destroyed the comic inside. Like, it's, yeah. I've talked to you about this in the past. I hate when they do that. Why not just at least include a bag? But yeah, they were all bagged and boarded, and then they were inside a bigger bag. All of them fit inside a bigger like plastic bag thing, and then that was inside cardboard, and that was inside another one and another one and another one. It must have been about 8 layers to get to the actual comics themselves. And they all came. It was flat. It was not a crease on them. Like, they're all perfect.
Yeah, and of course the outer envelope was so packed tight that it was no longer an envelope; it was a box.
Yeah, it was basically a cardboard box. But I think I've still got the remnants of it in my bin. So, yeah, when the recycling goes this week, I'll finally get rid of it.
Yeah, I looked at it this way. You know what? This is the first time I'm sending something over to the UK, and I want to make sure that it goes in one piece.
Yeah, and it arrived quick as well. Like, it arrived even like 3 days.
Yeah, and I didn't even pay extra for it.
I sent you a photo saying like it's arrived, and you're like, I can't believe that's there already.
Yeah, because I sent it out on a Saturday, and you got it what, a Tuesday or a Wednesday?
Yeah, something like that.
I was like,
I think it was on the Tuesday, so it's like, yeah, no, considering there's no post of any kind on Sundays, like, yeah, that's amazing.
But, yeah, which means it came within 2 days. That's weird.
Yeah, really, really well packaged, and can't say enough for the postal system getting it to me that quick.
Yep.
But yeah, so the remaining 5 issues that I needed to complete the collection were ordered on Friday, and according to eBay, they haven't been dispatched yet. I don't know why that is, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time. Maybe they'll be dispatched tomorrow or something. But very, very soon I'll have the complete collection, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. Like, yeah, I mean, I've got my shelf up the top there. It's got a load of stuff on it. I might just find another place for my uncle's, like, my uncle passed away. That's his old guitar. But I might just have all the comics just lined up along the back. Although, actually, I probably won't have room for them. But yeah, I might just put them on my shelf. But yeah. I'm excited about it, and yeah, I just can't believe that's all. Almost all of that is what you sent me.
Yeah,
so it's just amazing. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem, Tom. No problem. We Superboy fans, we got to stick together.
Absolutely, there aren't that many of us, so we've got to stick together because Yep. But the other thank you got to make is to DC editor, Superboy writer, head of creative, the animation, like, creative. Isn't he the creative director of DC Animation? Is that his title now?
I think so. I'm not exactly sure, but I think you got it somewhere around there.
Yeah. Mike, if I got that title wrong, I apologize. Mike Carlin has commented again. He's commented on every one of our reviews so far, and we can't be more appreciative. So I'm going to read out his comment again. It just says, thanks again, chaps. Another nice job. Won't be a lot of comments this time around, except to say that this issue was written by Dan Jurgens, and the cover credits are the editor's mistake. That jerk. Yeah. Yeah, because we had some confusion about that. We weren't quite sure who wrote it.
Yep.
And yeah, he's just said basically that's his mistake. He says the covers were always put together much earlier than the interiors, and sometimes production would just grab the credits from a previous issue. And he says the editor should have caught that and corrected it. And he says, I hear they don't let this editor edit comics anymore, so it's okay. It's funny, like, I've talked about interviewing him a while ago in the past, but he's always had a great sense of humor about this sort of thing. He told me that there's an issue that he's got. I think he said he's got it on his coffee table or something. He keeps it nearby. And I think Metropolis was spelt wrong on on a piece of art, and he didn't notice it had gone to print and all of that, and he had a good laugh about that. But Yeah, we did theorize that that's potentially what happens because we noticed that the credits were basically the exact same font as they were on the previous issue. So maybe it was just like, a
Yeah.
template that's just put on top. But it's nice to get a bit of clarification on that. We do appreciate him clearing that up for us.
Yep. Absolutely.
Dan Jurgens he says Dan Jurgens had been writing for years at DC before doing this fill-in. He wrote Sun Devils and Booster Gold before getting some penciling work on Superman in an annual, and then he switched over to the regular books in 1989 as a writer as well. So he wrote Superman before this issue of Superboy. We did wonder about that. I think we were more so wondering whether this was John Francis Moore's first writing of the character was for this, or maybe regular DC. So maybe you could clear that up for us as well. That would be great. But yeah, he'd been writing with Howard Shakin on American Flag before taking a stab at Superboy comics, and he ended up doing lots for DC and Marvel subsequently, and working as a writer on the Flash and Superboy TV shows. Yeah, I forgot to mention that he didn't just write on Superboy. He wrote on the 90s Flash, which is pretty cool as well, because I mean that's kind of a cult favorite in the same way that Superboy is.
Yeah.
He did mention as well, because we brought up the idea of maybe them releasing a omnibus of collecting all of the Superboy tie-ins.
Right.
He says it's hindered by a fact that we did mention on the show, which is that they're available really cheaply, and so there isn't much of a demand for the collection, because the collection would cost more than just buying the individual issues that a company might tend to if the omnibus book would cost more than just buying the individual issues yourself and collecting it off eBay or whatever, there's really no point in making an omnibus. So that's fair enough. He says that a company might tend to reprint something else that's a little bit harder or more expensive to come by. And just says, hope that answers a few questions for you. Thanks again for reminding people about this obscure series, Mike C. And yeah, thank you so much for your comment again, Mike. It's always wonderful to hear from you. And yeah, we're going to keep releasing these. I hope that you can continue to enjoy our discussions on them, because yeah, you say thank you for reminding people about this obscure series. You don't have to thank us really, because they're just a lot of fun to read. We're just having a blast. So it's we were going to be doing this whether people watched or not.
Yeah, we're that geeky.
Yeah, we could get 3 views an episode and we would still just continue doing this because we're having fun.
Yeah, although I think Sam might have a problem with only getting 3 views for the channel.
Yeah. But, I don't think he'd mind. It's something to upload, and who knows, people find things years later on YouTube. I can't tell you how many times YouTube has recommended me a video that I've never seen that was uploaded 8 years prior. And it's like, it's recommending this now. It's only got 2,000 views. Why is it recommending this now of all times? But it happens. I don't know why, but who knows? Maybe the algorithm changes, and maybe I watched something that's vaguely related and that's why it's now recommending. But anyway, should we move on to the actual issue itself?
Absolutely. So again, we've got a great cover by the great Kevin McGuire.
Yeah.
Such a great image, looks like
apologies for the shine.
Yeah, yours is still bagged.
Yeah. I don't want to risk damaging it.
Looks like a giant has just stepped on Superboy, and you can see him ground into the dirt.
Yeah, really fun image. Like it just pops, doesn't it? It's just a really cool image.
Yeah, and of course, the tagline on the cover is "Big Man on Campus." And of course, we've got another appearance by the great Professor Peterson.
Yep. It's funny as well. This issue, I'll mention it probably again when it actually comes up, but I think it's after the second half of this issue. But did we ever actually get Peterson's first name in the show? Because in this, he's named Jonathan, and I don't remember hearing that before in the show.
If you look very closely at the episode Metallo, when Superboy Clark is reading the journal that was put together about kryptonite by Peterson, it says right on the cover, John Peterson.
That's cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was named for the comic because obviously I missed that. He was always just Professor Peterson, and in this, when I saw him called Jonathan, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that was his name.
Yep.
To me, his first name was Professor. It's like in Avengers when Tony Stark says like about Coulson. He's like, his first name is Agent.
Yeah. Yep. But we get introduced to a new character for the series, a Dr. Kristova, a Russian exchange scientist. Remember, this was during the height of the Cold War, and she's working on a project with Professor Peterson. What do they call this?
They call it a singularity at one point, but extra spatial particle distortion lens. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's like an interesting thing. Just, I guess they're looking into the boundaries of known physics. They're just trying. It's just basically an experiment, and they found that when something goes in, it becomes all distorted when and it comes out again. It's almost like it's been as whatever's been thrown in. They throw, I think, a bar of lead in, and it comes back out, and they say it's as if it was haphazardly disassembled then reassembled at a basic atomic level, which is interesting. It's kind of a I can almost imagine this would be an interesting way to make Bizarro if Superboy had fallen into it.
Yeah,
it's a similar sort of line of science.
It's sort of reminiscent of a transporter in Star Trek.
Yeah,
just not working as well.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's more like the transporter in Galaxy Quest, where the creature comes back inside out and then explodes.
What was that?
Nothing.
I heard some squealing or something.
Oh, no, everything's fine.
But the animal is inside out.
I heard that. It turned inside out?
And it exploded.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. They say that it's almost like they've opened a window into a funhouse dimension that's sending back the distorted reflections of its mirrors. And then we cut to Clark, TJ, and Lana. They're at the fair, and the sort of place where a funhouse would be. And it's an interesting thematic link, and I thought it was a nice little transition. They mentioned something that you would easily find at the fair, and then they were at a fair. Yeah, I thought that was fun. Yep. And TJ cannot handle rides, apparently. Like he's super dizzy. He's going to fall over. Like, yeah. It's almost like TJ's got like what do they say when you have trouble with this stuff? Isn't it like an inner ear problem, and that it's like it affects your balance? And apparently that's why as you get older, roller coasters and stuff become harder and harder to handle.
Yeah.
But I think that's interesting, and it's funny seeing TJ here, and they end up going in to see a fortune teller, and TJ gets his fortune told, and she says that there's going to be there's something big coming, something very large and imposing that's going to block your path soon. I thought it's an interesting metaphor for the one, but it's also very, very apt because it's literal. Something huge is coming, as we've seen on the cover.
Yeah, and then of course what he says is so TJ. Great, with my luck, a building's going to drop on me. I knew it.
I love TJ. I think he's just such a fun character, and then they go out, and TJ approaches a girl that he's obviously been with in a previous story, like not from the comic, but obviously they know each other, and she regrets having been with TJ for a short time. She says maybe they drank too much or something.
Yeah.
But TJ's quite upset because he's just been dumped, and we've all been there. And poor TJ. Like TJ goes through it in this issue.
Yeah. Then again, he went through it through all of season 1. So
It's right in line with his character. But and then they go and they're playing, one of the basic carnival games where knock the pins over with the ball, and there's a fun moment where Clark notices that one of the people that just failed at the game is like a professional baseball player, so he really shouldn't have failed. And Clark notices that the pins have basically been screwed down into the board. And classic Superman moment. He sees an injustice, and even as Clark Kent, like he just throws the ball, smashes the pin like to smithereens, and the guy's just like, "Holy, how did you do that, kid?" And he's just like, "Clean living. It keeps the doctor and the local police away, if you know what I mean." He's like, "Yeah, I get your drift, kid." And it's just really nice Superman moment, classic Superman moment. It's those little touches that I really appreciate. I always love when that sort of thing happens in the Superman story. I think it's a core piece of what I love about the character.
Yeah, he sees
that's where a lot of the humor comes from.
Yeah, he sees an injustice and he's got to take care of it, but he does it in a subtle way, not put on the cape and fly in and beat up the bad guy way. And then, of course,
it wouldn't quite be necessary in this case for him to disappear and then come back as Superboy and say, "Hey, you're cheating at those games." It's like, no, he can do this as Clark. Just he teaches the Carney a lesson. And, really fun scene.
Yep, and then we cut back to Professor Peterson's lab at Schuster, and three of the jocks who were just ahead of them at the ball. Game.
One of the ones I think that the girl that TJ liked actually dumped him for.
Yep.
Like TJ's just like, I can't believe I've been dumped for one of them.
Yeah.
It's like it's a really Yeah,
apparently Peterson had just flunked one of them, or both, or all of them, and they want to do a little bit of mischief. So the guy in charge, Dodger, is going to spray paint the lens that they were working with.
Yeah. There's a funny line as well. They say that it's the lab looks like the bridge of the Enterprise, and one of them says old or new generation. He's just like, who cares? I'm going to put the Beta Phi signature where no man has gone before. I just thought that was a really funny line.
Yep.
And as a Trekkie, I love whenever Star Trek gets a little reference, and Superboy certainly had some very Star Trekky episodes, so it's right in line with the feel of the show.
Yeah.
No, I mean that episode West of Alpha Centauri, like it's a very TNG/Voyager style episode. You can totally imagine, like, instead of Superboy being in that alien prison, being like 7 of 9 or something. You can totally see that happening.
They accidentally turn it on, and then he gets sucked in.
Yeah.
And of course, his two brave friends run.
Yeah, some friends.
Yeah.
Always reminds me of what was it? Yeah, it was that Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the scene where the convenience store gets robbed, and the guy from Beverly Hills Cop, like, he's working the counter. I forget his name. Judge Reinhold, the character, the actor's name, takes down the thief, and he's like, suddenly the friends in the car, his getaway driver, just speeds off at high speed. He's just like, I think your friends are leaving.
No towels, man. I got you, you son of a bitch. Don't you right now? Awesome. Totally awesome.
And it's just, for some reason it just reminded me of that. Maybe it's just because I'm very 80s, and it's a common trope, isn't it? Something bad happens, their friends immediately just split.
Yep.
I thought it was fun.
And then we cut to just Lana and Clark together, and they run into somebody named Kevin.
Yeah, he's on the diving team.
Yep.
And it's like, obviously, I think Lana likes him. It's like they're gonna maybe start dating or something, and Clark is a little bit jealous, but at the same time he admits to himself in a thought bubble that, like, Kevin's a decent guy. Like, it shouldn't bother me that she wants to spend time with a guy like that, because he's a good dude, and it's just nice. It's like the exact opposite of the girl that TJ liked. She likes an arsehole. Lana likes a nice guy.
Yeah.
and not like a modern internet nice guy. A good dude.
Okay, and then
I thought it's fun.
Yep. Then we have Clark cutting back to meeting TJ on the merry-go-round.
Yeah, he says he gave all of his tickets to the ride operator, and so he thinks he's booked on the ride until sometime Sunday. Which is funny. Like, he's so depressed, he goes on the most boring ride in the park. Just gives him all the rides just so he can just sit there all day, wallowing in self-pity. But it's funny because it's not so much funny, actually. This scene really hit home because TJ talks about the fact that the thing that's got him most scared is that everybody tells him that college years are supposed to be the best years of his life.
Yep.
And I think that's a sentiment that every college student can relate to. Like, I know for sure that when I was at university, like, yeah, it's supposed to be the best years of my life. At times, they were some of the worst.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it can. I think that's a really nice moment, and it's like this is an issue that's got a lot of big sci-fi ideas, and yet it's all anchored by this really true character development and drama. And it's like you can understand what TJ's feeling. Yes, he's wallowing in self-pity a little bit, but everything he's saying, who can't relate to that, honestly? And I think
and this is kind of will play a big part in the ending of the issue a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. And then of course we cut back a little bit to Peterson's lab, and a giant hand is coming out of the mirror.
Yeah. I mean, how big is this mirror though? Because it seems to grow and shrink throughout the issue.
Yeah.
Because at one point the hand is almost as big as the mirror itself, and then he's crawled out of it and the mirror's almost as big as he is entirely. It's just really fun. Like, yeah, it's comic books. You don't have to take it so seriously. I just thought it was kind of fun because at the end of the issue, when they're trying to get him back into it, I'm like, how is he going to fit?
Yeah.
But yeah,
we'll
move on from that.
Yeah, and then we've got Clark trying to be Mr. Upbeat attitude with TJ as TJ's getting ready to do a stand-up gig, probably at the
they're at the fair. They're at the tractor pool or something.
Yep. And then all of a sudden we hear the thumping of Dodger's feet, and then we turn the page and
he's Godzillaing, and it's a really funny moment where he picks up a full keg of beer, just opens it like it's a regular can of beer and just downs it. I thought that's a really fun image.
Yeah. But then again, who wouldn't do that at that height?
Yeah, if you were that big, a keg would even be small. Like, you'd need several of them, really.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really a fun moment. And it's the kind of little visual humor joke that you need when you have a story like this, when you have a character that grows that big.
Yep.
It's just fun.
Yep. And then, of course, Clark changes to Superboy to try and deal with this situation.
Yeah. And he tries to talk him round, and, he's just like, unfortunately, like he says, I'm not here to pick a fight. And unfortunately, there's no, he like then thinks to himself, unfortunately, there's no law against being a really big jerk. But it's like Superboy tries to talk him round, but it doesn't always work when the guy is as big of an asshole as this guy is.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. But it's cool. And he notices that Professor Peterson is down below because they mentioned in an earlier scene that they were going for hot dogs at the fair. Yep. So that was cool that he was there. But Peterson tries to explain to Dodger, like, if obviously you broke into my lab, what's happened to you has made you extremely unstable. You need to come back with me so I can help you. And Dodger's just a moron. Like, it's no wonder that he failed Professor Peterson's science class, because he is a massive idiot.
Yeah,
Literally.
I mean, look at the first interaction between Peterson and him. Peterson says, "I can explain this, Superboy. I think Dodger broke into my lab." Dodger's response is, "Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. You can't prove anything. You're 50 feet tall."
Yeah. Oh. But he's just like, yeah. He just says, "Not a chance, Professor. Use Superboy for a guinea pig. I've had enough of you in our physics class." And it's just like, how would that make sense? Superboy's not massive.
Yeah. Again, he's a moron.
Yeah. But it's like he's there to party, and he notices that there's some music playing, so he goes and has a dance, and yeah, it's just funny.
Yep.
And it's like Lana finds TJ, and TJ's just upset because he's just been upstaged.
Excuse
Like
me.
he was supposed to be doing some stand up, and
Yep.
yeah. TJ's talking about how he's thinking he should take a break from school. Like he doesn't feel like he's where he belongs.
Yeah.
And I think we've all had that feeling as well. Like, it's again, big sci-fi concepts grounded by real drama.
Yep.
And without TJ's story, this would be probably quite a forgettable issue. But because of what TJ's going through, it's just elevated. And
Yep.
it's, yeah.
And then we've got Superboy at Peterson's lab with Dr. Christova and Peterson. And
This is the page where she calls him Jonathan. This is when I had that revelation, because I genuinely just didn't remember him ever having a first name in the show. It was always just Peterson. And so Superboy fixes it by using his X-ray vision and heat vision together, so he can refire and reshape the glass with the laser accuracy. And then he uses his cape and a little super speed to polish and buff the lens. And really cool, nice use of his powers. And yeah, it's just always nice to see how he can use powers in combination with each other to achieve different things. It's always an interesting thing when Superman or Superboy does stuff like that.
Yep. And then of course we cut back to Dodger being, well, a giant jerk.
Yeah. But he
meets
finds
up with
his friends and puts them on his shoulders, and just they walk around, and they're just, they even say to him, like, bro, like, sorority girls won't do it for you anymore. We got to find you the 50-foot woman. And suddenly now he's not feeling so well. Like he what Peterson said about him being unstable is happening. Like he says his body feels like it's on fire. He falls against the Ferris wheel, almost knocks it over. And then on the next page, like, Superboy goes to correct, put the Ferris wheel back straight. And it's an interesting moment to see Superboy's strength, because he's not at Superman level strength yet. Correcting the Ferris wheel is difficult for him. Like, he's struggling a little bit. And I think it's a nice way to differentiate his power level.
Well, I don't know if it's so much power level as, he hasn't had the experience with the powers that he will eventually have. Plus, when he's Superman, let's cut to the chase here. When he's Superman, he's pretty much already thinking, 50 steps ahead when it comes to, disasters.
Yeah.
Because he's had the experience. I mean, this really shows that he's still learning the ropes.
Yeah. At the same time, though, this is, considering what will happen at the end of this issue, this is right at the end of his first year at Schuster. So by this issue, he's been Superboy for roughly a year.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly less, because obviously summer break and all of that. And it appears like TJ's leaving, not at the end of the year, he's leaving before the semester's over. But it's, I took it more as, from the expression on his face with the artwork and all of that, I just took it as, it's difficult for him to lift. It would be very, very heavy. Maybe it's just, he gets stronger as he goes.
Yeah, but I also think that it's, it's all about, physics and leverage and all that,
That is true, yeah.
I mean, as Superman, he'll know how to pivot his body and his arms and apply things in the proper way to keep it level. But as Superboy, he's still.
This is probably the first time that he's had to deal with this situation. Yeah. But by the time he's Superman, he's probably done it at least a couple of times.
Yeah, at least 10 times.
Yeah.
We'll say.
Considering how ludicrously long he stays Superboy in this continuity.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably done it 10 times by the time he changes his name.
Yep.
But anyway, Dodger then, he isn't really looking where he's going. He walks straight into some power lines and shocks himself.
Yep.
And Superboy saves a little girl, and she's more concerned about the fact that she's just lost her balloon, which I thought was a fun little touch. Because
Yep.
as a child, I think you would be more concerned about losing a balloon.
Then being stepped on by a giant man.
Yeah, I mean, kids, losing a balloon when you're a kid is heartbreaking.
Oh, I don't deny that. I don't deny that.
But yeah,
and
he
then, of
says, "I'm
course-
sure you'll get another one. It's fine."
Yep.
But
And then Dodger is, standing there, and Superboy is confronting him, and
yeah, he's
Dodger
trying to talk
hits
him
him.
round still, but like Dodger's just like, "Get away from me," and punches him to the floor and steps on him as we see the cover.
Yep. And then TJ runs up, and
again here, there's another thing where Superboy's thinking about the fact that he's heavy. Maybe it's also because Dodger would be struggling, but he's just saying, "I don't think I can carry him back to Peterson's lab," and maybe that's partly strength. Maybe it's just the fact that he's going to be trying to fight him the entire time. So it's interesting, and he just has this great idea. I don't think I can carry him to the lab, so I'll bring the lab here. And he goes to get the lens, which is cool. And TJ manages to stop Dodger from doing all this destruction by doing his stand-up and basically making him laugh. And it's a really nice TJ moment. His comedy is working. It's his set was interrupted when he was supposed to be doing his comedy on stage, but he's doing his acts now and he's killing.
Yep.
Showing that, his comedy is he's on the right path with his comedy.
Yep. And then, of course, we've got Superboy bringing the lens in.
Yep.
And Dr. Kristova is there with Peterson. And they get Dodger back in.
And then he comes out regular size.
Yeah.
Which is great. And the lens explodes, so there won't be a repeat of this issue unless they rebuild it, which, considering she said, it seems, Jonathan, we're back at square one. Yeah. They're probably going to try and rebuild, but it's good to know that this isn't going to be these events aren't going to be repeated anytime soon. It's like the Back to the Future 3 thing when the DeLorean gets destroyed. It's just
Yep. And then, of course, we've got a great little scene with a gentleman who seems to be a
GBS
talent scout.
affiliate. Yeah. And he's going to be on the midnight show. It's not really clear from this whether it's radio or television. I imagine it's TV. But he says to TJ, I think you've got something. And offers him a gig in Metropolis. And it's great because TJ, this whole issue, has been wondering whether he should move on from Schuster because he's not happy there. He feels like he's in the wrong place. And at the end of this, the universe has provided a path for him, and he decides to take it. And
well, as Madame Maria said earlier in the issue, something big was coming.
Yeah, in more ways than one.
Yeah, and in this case, she wasn't talking about Dodger. She was talking about this.
Yeah, and it's great. And the thing I love about this is it gives us some closure. It's something that the show was missing, because when season 2 starts, TJ is just gone and Andy is just there.
Yeah,
and now we know why TJ left Schuster, and it's a great reason. He's following his dream, and it's I'll to be honest, I'll miss the character in the comic. I was enjoying getting this extra dose of TJ within the pages of the comic, but so I'll miss him. Same as I did on the show with season 2. I always preferred TJ over Andy, but it's just really nice to see a reason. And I think in the show he says he went to work for his father.
Yeah.
So it's a different explanation as to why he's gone than season 2. I much prefer this reason.
Yeah, although there is a way we can retcon both into the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's in Metropolis. Maybe he's working for his father and doing the comedy stuff. Maybe
Yeah.
It's great. No, I really enjoyed this goodbye, and it's been a very long time. I don't think I've even read most of this run of issues. I don't think I ever got to the end of it. Does TJ ever return for a single issue? down the line?
Yes. Not until issue 16.
I'll look forward to that.
Um,
Yeah, I'll look
but
forward to that then.
it is not this TJ that shows up. It is an older version of TJ.
Ah, okay. Well, I'll still
Uh,
look forward to that. That's something to look forward to down the
Yep.
line. But it's
Um,
something I wish they'd done on the show. I wish they brought back TJ for a single episode, like they did with Andy in the special effects episode from season 3.
Yep.
I wish they'd done that with TJ at some point, but what can you do?
Yeah, but
It's too late now.
Yeah, I mean, this gives us a little bit of closure to season 1 a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of gets rid of TJ in a polite way,
Mm.
you know.
I do wish that he'd stuck around for a couple more issues, though.
Yeah.
I like TJ. I would have been happy for him to stick around for another 4 or 5 issues.
Yeah. What I really like though about is the next issue blurb that we have on the flip side of the letters page.
Mm.
It says, next issue, 3 superpowered youths from another time or place come to Schuster University to get Superboy to join their gang of superhumans. With friends like these is a John Moore, Jim Mooney, and Ty Templeton, and will be on sale in just 30 short days, but summer is coming. See you next month. So we have a kind of a little bit of a blurb for our next adventure.
Yeah.
And it sort of reminds me of something pre-crisis a little bit.
Yeah.
But of course, we'll get into that in the next episode when we talk
I
about
don't want
issue
to
5.
spoil anything by talking.
Yeah.
It's all stuff that I'm sure we'll talk about on the next episode.
Yep. But again,
Yeah.
the artwork on this is great. As you said, it's good sci-fi concepts with some really, really, really good, emotional content.
Yeah.
It's
That's what
not.
elevated the entire issue for me was TJ's journey. Like
Yeah.
a lot of self-doubt and just TJ was very, very, depressed in this issue. And I mean, it's just great because he was saying things that I think every student at university feels at some point.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, when you're at university and stuff like that, or college, people are telling you these are supposed to be the greatest years of your life. People say the same thing about high school, though, but that's a load of shit. I don't know anyone who would say high school is the best years of their life, unless they were like, the popular bully sort of student.
And I don't know about you, Tom, but I can certainly speak for myself, being beaten up regularly because I was a geek and a sci-fi and comic book fan. Yeah, they weren't exactly the best years of my life, and this is why having this show for the entire 4-year run of my high school years was a boon.
Yeah, I was lucky. I was never actually beaten up, but yeah, it was more psychological when I was at school. I think it's the zero tolerance on violence policies at schools. It causes the bullies to get creative.
Yeah.
So, it was a completely different form of but it's just this thing, like, especially university, in that you're trying to find your way in the world and nobody really prepares you for it.
Yeah.
Because everybody's journey is different, so it's impossible to prepare you for it, really.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, it was sad to see TJ go, but as you said, it's a little bit better than what we got.
It's a better ending than the show, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed this issue. I think I actually did prefer this to issue 3.
Still not as good as issue 2.
Issue 2 is still the best, but this is close. And to which I think whenever John Francis Moore is writing for these issues, I think is going to be always a treat, because so far everyone that he's written has been great. So
yeah, I mean, and I know that there are going to be issues where he leaves the series completely, but the ones that he does write are top notch.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know
yeah,
what else we can say about this issue. I mean, great art, great concept, great story.
yeah.
You know,
The writing is great. Just everything about it. I just thought was a really, really solid issue. The only reason it's not as good as issue 2 is just, you know, issue 2 was just amazing. You
yeah.
know,
Well. Remember, I think we're kind of biased because of issue 2 because it's the Perry White factor.
I
So
don't even think it's that. I just think issue 2 was a really solidly written story. I know we talked about it a lot on the episode, like the fact that everything that was set up paid off by the end of the issue. It was like constantly something that happened on page 1 was paid off in the last page, kind of thing. And it was just really well structured, well written story, very tight. And yeah, I
well,
just
the
think it
same
was
thing could be said about this issue too. You know.
this issue has a lot of the same stuff. I think the only thing that does take it over is the Perry White stuff, and
Yeah.
I think some of the comedy in issue 2 works better for me. But I liked when the henchman guy sees Clark and Lana making out in the parking lot. He's like, "Hey, right on, guy."
Yeah.
That makes me laugh. And
And then of course, TJ, annoying the hell out of the crooks, and they
yeah,
in unison they all say, "Shut up."
yeah, just fantastic. Just a
Yeah.
great issue. Issue 4, I think, is my second favorite of the ones we've done so far.
Yeah.
Third favorite is issue 1. And yeah, last issue with the Fountain of Youth stuff. That's it's my fourth favorite of the ones we've reviewed so far, but it's still really good.
Yeah, but that
I'm
doesn't that
sure it will.
yeah,
I'm
that
sure it will not stay as the worst one moving forward. We know at least by the special, it's not going to be.
yeah. We're not
Yeah,
going to talk about that just yet.
yeah,
We have another 18 issues to get through before we even get to the special.
yeah. Like it's the worst one so far, but it's still brilliant.
Yeah.
The issue 3 rather, it's yeah.
Yeah, and it's written by somebody who actually knows how to write comics. It's
Absolutely.
Dan Jurgens. I mean, Dan
Yeah,
Jurgens
one
is
of my favorites.
yeah. You know,
Like not even just his 90s stuff. Like I love when during the Rebirth era, like people talk a lot about Peter J. Tomasi's writing on Superman, but Dan Jurgens was writing Action Comics at the same time as all of that. And to be honest, I think it's almost, even though I love the family stuff that was in Superman at that point, the pure action sci-fi fun that's in Action Comics is just a perfect accompaniment. Like, I don't think that era would be quite as incredible without Dan Jurgens.
yeah,
So
and
yeah,
and I think one of the best parts of that whole era is just that time travel story with him and Booster Gold. I mean, just the sheer humor, because you got Booster, he's Dan's. Dan created Booster, you know, so Dan knows exactly how to write him properly.
yeah,
And the
and they
best
like
way,
go to Krypton or something. Like they're
yeah,
on Krypton. Like just so much fun. It's just
yeah, and the
yeah,
best part is that the best way to write Booster Gold is you write him as an arrogant jerk who means well, but he's still an arrogant jerk.
he's an arrogant jerk with a heart of gold,
Yeah,
a heart of Booster Gold.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought when Booster Gold was on Smallville as well, like they did a really great job. Like
Yeah,
he was an arrogant jerk, but he did the right thing at the end. And I kind of wish they could have kept that character around for a while because they gave him a really good costume as well.
yeah.
Like
Probably the
it was
best.
Booster Gold's costume, but it was covered in like logos for companies because he was like sponsored.
Yeah, it
Just
was
so
very
funny. What a
reminiscent
great idea.
of Captain Amazing from Mystery Men.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I need to watch Mystery Men again. It's been years since I've seen that film, but I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah. What's his name? Casanova Frankenstein, the villain.
yeah. Played by the great Jeffrey Rush, who then went on
Yeah.
to do another comic book movie, Green
Green
Lantern.
Lantern? Yeah. He was great in Green Lantern. Like I don't think Green Lantern's a movie that's as bad as anyone says. It's not good, but it's fun. It's
Yeah.
enjoyable.
If you want a better version of the movie, you watch the director's edition.
Is
It
there a
explain-
director's cut? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. There is an extended director's cut, which is far better. It kind of goes into Hal's background, with his father. because up until in the theatrical cut, we only see one scene of his dad, and it's the scene where he dies.
Yeah.
We don't see the interaction between father and son, which kind of pushes us to understand Hal as a character.
I'll have to seek that out. I think I've only ever seen the theatrical version of it, to be honest. But
Yeah.
it's funny, there's a few comic book movies where the director's cuts are significantly better than the theatrical. Like, I can't stand Batman versus Superman, I'll be honest. But the director's cut is better. It's definitely better. But one film that's a comic book movie that the director's cut is significantly improved is Daredevil. Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
Yeah.
The theatrical version is absolute shit. But the director's cut is actually a pretty damn good movie.
Yeah.
they basically cut the A plot of the movie for theatrical. They cut the A plot and made the B plot the main story. And that's why it's just sucks. And when they put the director's cut out and the A story is the A story again, it just works. It's a much, much better movie.
Yeah.
And yeah. Maybe we should do a special at some point where we just discuss comic book movies where the director's cut is a clear improvement. And maybe some where it's not. Like Suicide Squad, where the extra deleted scenes just hurt the already flawed
still haven't
pacing.
seen Suicide Squad, so although it's
the original
probably
Suicide
on
Squad.
HBO Max, so I could watch it from there.
Yeah, like Suicide Squad is a very disjointed movie. The editing, I mean, it was edited by a trailer company, and so the pacing of that movie is just all over the place. But then they do the director's cut and they just put a couple of deleted scenes back in. It just brings the movie to a halt again, and it's just awful. Yeah. I would they released the Snyder cut. I would be interested in seeing the Ayer cut because I think it's got to be an improvement. But I can't see it being a huge improvement. There were a lot of bad decisions that went into that movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
James Gunn's Suicide Squad is far and away the better movie.
I still have to watch that too. So
that is great. You know who the villain is, don't you?
Starro.
Yeah. They had gigantic kaiju Starro in a comic book movie. I can't believe they did that.
Yeah, and of course we've got two Superman-related villains as part of the team in it.
Yeah.
Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba.
Yeah, who famously, they even say in the movie, like, he was in prison for shooting Superman with a kryptonite bullet, which is right out of the comics. And
Mongal.
Mongal.
Yeah.
I won't tell you what happens to Mongal.
Oh, I already know.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't happen to her father, then we're okay.
Yeah. Although I've said to you in the past, I'm not a huge fan of Mongol. I think Mongol is just the villain you throw in when it's just Doomsday Light, not Doomsday Light, Dark Side Light.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's a Mongol story, I would much rather they just put Dark Side in its place. I just don't find it particularly interesting, but I know that's an unpopular opinion. There's people that love Mongol.
Mongol, I love because he is Dark Side Light, and I think he kind of knows it, and he's got a chip on his shoulder because of it. I don't think anybody could have played him better in the DC animated universe than Eric Roberts, and especially
Eric Roberts is great. Eric Roberts could play him in live action, and it would work.
Oh, I'm sure he could.
He's got the brow. He's got a really strong, intense brow. If they just, put a little bit of makeup on it just to really bring it out just a tiny bit further, he just looks like Mongol.
Yeah.
He'd be fantastic.
Yeah, but watching, and I know this is an aside.
Yeah.
But
we're getting off topic, but I don't care. We're just going to keep talking about this.
Yeah. But watching For the Man Who Has Everything, their version of it. And of course it is the only Alan Moore written story that Alan Moore actually has put the seal of approval on.
He liked that one, did he? I didn't know that. I thought he just hated everything that was ever adapted.
He has no problem with the stuff that is not his own original stuff. Okay? Anything that's based off of his own original stuff, he doesn't like. But anything that was done based off of, established, characters that he was just working on, he usually has no problem, but he definitely has no problem with For the Man Who Has Everything. And I'm sure Mike Carlin will correct us on this if we're wrong.
Please do. We would love to know. But to be honest, I would love to know what Alan Moore thought of Mindscape, because it's loosely based on it. It's not
Yeah.
1-to-1, but it's a loose adaptation.
Yeah. I'm
And I
sure
don't think Mike would mind me saying that, because he said it to me.
Yep. I'm sure Alan Moore though had a problem with the adaptation of For the Man Who Has Everything that they did on Supergirl though.
Yeah.
That was just
that
awful.
was a waste of an episode, to be honest. I didn't hate it, but it was just a waste of an episode.
Yeah.
It could have been done so much better.
Yeah,
To be honest,
it was done so much better in animated form.
Yeah. I think Superman and Lois should just readapt it at some point. Maybe in season 3, have the villain, in season 1 they had the episode A Brief Reminiscence Between Cataclysmic Events, and it was the flashback episode. If they did a sort of a version 2.0 of that, and it was just For the Man Who Has Everything in season 3, I would be here for it. Especially if they made it a 2-parter, just make it basically a TV movie. I would love to see that.
But
I think that's a show that can do it a lot better.
Yeah, they're not going to do that because they want to stick to a 13 episode thing, where every episode has to kind of lead into the big bad of the season.
Well, who knows? Maybe season 3 or 4, the big bad will be Mongol.
Well, we can always hope.
Yeah, I would love to see it. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's not Mongol that puts him in it this time. Maybe it's somebody else who has access to the Black Mercy. I think they're building up that it's going to be Bruno Mannheim is going to be the villain of season 3. So maybe somehow he's got hold of a Black Mercy flower.
Well,
I don't know where he would.
Bruno
get it from,
Mannheim is Intergang, and we all know Intergang has ties to what famous DC villain? Your favorite.
My favorite.
Darkseid.
Yeah. So Darkseid can get it. So Mongol potentially could be in it. Who knows? Maybe season 3 they'll have For the Man Who Has Everything adaptation. Yeah. It can't be worse than what they did with Supergirl. Right. Yeah.
Bite your tongue, because you don't want to speak that into existence. Because you'll jinx us.
I can't see Superman and Lois doing it worse, because so far that show has exceeded my expectations. There's a bit too much Lana stuff in season 2.
Yeah.
I think that subplot kind of just doesn't go very far. It drags it out a little bit more than it should, but I still enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought it was a really solid drama. I love Superman and Lois. I think it's the best Superman that's been done since Superboy.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than Lois and Clark. But yeah.
Yeah.
I like Lois and Clark, don't get me wrong. And I like Smallville a lot, but I think Superman and Lois is so far the better show. I think it's the best Superman that's been in years. I can't speak more highly of Tyler Hoechlin as Clark Kent.
I mean, he has definitely grown into the role. We all looked at him when they showed those first few shots, those promotional images.
Oh, for Supergirl.
Yeah, and we were all like, okay.
Yeah, he looked weird in that
the costume doesn't look right. And then he came on screen and he was like, he was Superman. And then over the years of him playing that character, he's kind of gotten into that place where he knows exactly what he has to do each and every scene.
Yeah. So by the time they made the pilot for Superman and Lois, he already knew exactly what to do.
Yep.
I think he's fantastic. Honestly, I know it's never going to happen, but if they wanted to say when Superman and Lois ends, they're going to make movies with that Superman and that Lois Lane, I would go to see them. I'd pay to see them opening night in IMAX, midnight screenings, but it's not going to happen because
Yeah. I mean,
I understand why they want to draw a line between what's television, what's movies, and all of that. But yeah, I like Henry Cavill, but I just don't like the way his Superman was written most of the time.
Honestly, as bad as the Whedon version of Justice League is, That's the
Superman
only
was
thing.
great in that. Yeah.
That's the only thing they got right. You know, I mean, especially that whole scene when he's flying back into the nuclear power plant, and he says, "Is this guy still bothering you?" That's Superman.
Yeah.
That
He
is.
laughs at one point, like, yeah.
Yep. And of course, the
Superman
sequence.
feels like Superman in that. It's a shame he's got the CGI lip problem going on, but I
Well,
know obviously why that happens. It's they did
Yeah.
the best they could, I suppose, with the limited time that they had. But you know, I still think the best version of Justice League would be a combination cut between the theatrical and the Snyder cut.
Yeah, but we know
Somewhere,
that's
if you
never going to
edited,
happen.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
never
fan
gonna
edits might do it. Someone might be fan editing their own version of it. I think honestly, a cut that combines both of those into one concise movie could be the best version. But
Yeah.
you know, we'll probably never see it because fan edits. You know, I applaud the people that are doing those fan edits, but they're enough difficult to get hold of. Like, there's a lot of fan edits I want to see that I've never ever been able to get, like Batman Forever's Red Book edition.
Right.
Like, supposedly that's amazing. It adds all the deleted scenes from Batman Forever back into the movie and makes it more of the psychological thriller that it was originally intended to be.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's fan edits of putting Superman 2, taking all the good stuff from Lester's version and all the good stuff from Donner's version, putting them together into one film.
Again, best possible version, because they both had stuff that was fantastic. Like, I love the Eiffel Tower sequence in Lester's, but the Donner cut is my favorite version. If someone edited and put them together, perfect.
Yeah. I mean, some of the best stuff in Donner's version is, you know, that sequence with Brando.
Yeah.
You know, now we know how he got his powers back. I mean, up until then, you know, with Lester's version, we were always just kind
He
of
disappears,
guessing.
says, "I've got to go back to the fortress," and then just appears in Metropolis later.
Yeah.
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 Anyway.
Yep.
I think we've waffled on long enough. Hopefully we haven't lost anyone that was watching. Hopefully you still enjoyed our discussion. If you want us to do like a special episode at some point where we just talk about movie adaptations of comic books, maybe do the director's cut talk. We'll talk about a couple of films that have had director's cut editions that we think are an improvement or actually make the film worse. I don't know, it could be a fun video, even if it's only half an hour long, so. But yeah, let us know. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us some comments. Obviously, we always will read the comments on the following episode.
Yep.
So if you want us to give you a shout out, let us know.
Absolutely.
And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys.
Yep. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on our next episode. Same super time, same super channel. Take care, guys.
See you.